Hello, and welcome to the Temple of Enlightenment International Spiritual Center. My name is Issachar Bey, and I want to thank all of you for tuning in to our weekly teaching. We're still continuing with our series, 100 Secrets to Mastering the Game of Life. And if this is your first time tuning in today, please let us know what city, what state, what country you're listening in from. Also, we ask that everybody hit the like button if you can, and also subscribe to our channel so that you can be connected to a lot of things that we have coming up. We're actually getting in a position to put a lot of content out. We think we're going live pretty soon, where you guys get to see more interaction rather than just listening. And so we are getting ready to take this to the next level. And so if you want to be a part of that, go ahead and hit the subscribe button so that you can be notified of all the content and good things that we have coming forth. This month of October, we are still operating in our support to breast cancer awareness. And so those of you who have been donating, those of you that have been sending us funds, we are sending the funds for October to the Breast Cancer Foundation. Don't know if anybody here knows anybody who's ever had breast cancer or who has been affected by it personally or with family members, loved ones, friends. I've had a few family members who overcame breast cancer, and so we understand the importance of it, and we understand the significance of it, and we're here to make a stand to support it. I've also, petitioned and also put it out that all women, please go get checked out. Please go get checked out. Knowing way far in advance is better than finding out too late. So we definitely put that into the atmosphere to go get yourself checked out. Make sure that you're on top of your physical, appointments with your doctors and, all that kind of stuff, and that you're taking care of yourself. And we believe that prevention is better than the cure. That's what they say in Jamaica. Prevention is better than cure. So the prevention of it, being able to prevent it, is always going to be better than trying to find the cure. And so we are excited about supporting the foundation. There are numerous ways that you guys can give if you want to donate or sow into our ministry, in fact, in which we're going to give to the Breast Cancer Foundation. The 4 ways that you can give is going to be $TOESC. That's going to be $TOESC, and that's Cash App. We also have our Zelle and PayPal. Our Zelle and PayPal are both going to be our email address, which is going to be info, INFO, at TOESC.org. That's INFO at TOESC.org. And that email address is good for both Zelle and PayPal. And then if you want to use Venmo, I'm noticing that a lot of people use a Venmo now. Venmo is going to be our email address, Issachar Bey at gmail.com. That's going to be ISSACHARBEY at gmail.com. Issachar Bey at gmail.com. And those are the 4 ways that you can give. So we want to thank all of you for your support. For if you're supporting a loved one, if you're supporting a family member, I've always said everybody needs to make sure that they are aware of it. And so the more knowledge you have, the more wisdom you have, the more understanding you have about breast cancer. I believe it puts us in a greater position, and it puts us at a greater advantage. And so we understand that, and we are delighted to have that going for ourselves. We are continuing our series, 100 Secrets to Mastering the Game of Life. Somebody says, well, what do you mean by mastering the game of life? Like, what does that mean? Life is not supposed to be something that's supposed to be hard and difficult. It's not supposed to be something that's discouraging and very, very disappointing and very hard. It's supposed to be something that's fun. It's supposed to be something that that expands us, that grows us, that elevates us. And so when you look at life as a game, many of us, we look at a game as something that you play. And when you play games to win. Nobody plays a game to lose. You play a game to win. Once you learn the game, you play the game to win because your intent is to win at this game. It makes you competitive. It makes you wiser. It makes you smarter because the more you play the game, the more you learn, the more different pivots and techniques and strategies you want to use because you're trying to win the game. Well, if life is a game, then we are all trying to win the game of life. And so I wanted to do this series because I believe that there are so many different strategies and tactics and things that we need to learn that I feel are very beneficial into getting us where we need to be. Today, I'm going to talk about this subject right here. Life is not a matter of holding good cards, but of playing a poor hand well. Listen, let me say that again. Life is not a matter of holding good cards, but it's a matter of playing a poor hand well. And so I say this all the time. I say this to people all the time. I said the game of life. And in the game of life, when you begin to understand the game of life, you look at it from this perspective. We look at it from a perspective in which we say, it doesn't matter how good or bad the hand that you were dealt in life. Everybody listening to me right now, you were dealt a hand in the game of life. Some of you can sing, some of you can draw, some of you can dance, some of you are very talented in certain areas. Some of you are intellectual, you're smart, you have your own gifts, you have your own talents. You were dealt a different hand. Everybody has a different hand they were dealt. We've all looked at other people's hands and said, oh, they got a better hand than me. They were born from a rich family. Their families were millionaires. Oh, this person's, they were born with a silver spoon in their mouth. We look at stuff like that because of where they came from and their upbringing. But it doesn't matter how good or bad the hand that you were dealt is. It doesn't matter how good or bad it is. The only thing that matters is how well you play the hand that you were dealt. That's the only thing that matters. And so I want to talk about that today because I believe that learning how to play the hand that you were dealt, you'll get to realize and see who you are. You'll get to understand why you were dealt the hand that you were dealt. You'll learn the strategies. You'll learn the significance of when to play what and how to play it and what to do and what not to do. And so I believe that. I believe that no matter how bad or well your gift is or the hand that you were dealt, my friends, we can play that hand to win. And so get in a quiet position as we get ready to go into our spiritual mind treatment. I want us to take a time and just relax and allow us to tap into source. Let us go ahead and look at this from this perspective. I want you to take a breath, inhale and exhale. Again, inhale and exhale. Once again, inhale and exhale. Infinite mind, divine dealer of every possibility. I recognize you now as the source and substance of all that is. Nothing random, nothing lost, nothing missing. The cards of life are simply the symbols of consciousness made visible. I accept my hand with reverence. I bless every card, the hearts. They taught me how to love. The spades, that dug my faith. The clubs that built my strength. The diamonds that refined my value. Right now, I align with the inner dealer, that aspect of God that never misdeals, never errors, never forgets the rule of divine order. My consciousness is the table upon which life plays itself out. I decree that only divine intelligence governs my game. I release complaints, envy, and comparison. I choose mastery, clarity, and gratitude. I am not a victim of the shuffle. I am the consciousness that gives the shuffles meaning. And so it is, and so it is. Life doesn't deal fairness. It deals formation. Every soul is handed a starting deck: family, culture, genes, location, history. It's not punishment, it's a pattern. The universe aligns each of us a curriculum designed for expansion. Some are born in castles, others into chaos, but consciousness equalizes the game. When you understand that your poor hand is the precise combination required for your initiation, you stop wishing for different cards and start studying the hand that you were dealt. You know, when you realize the hand that you were dealt, now everybody listening to me, we all can look back at our lives and see the hand that life dealt us. But if you're listening to me right now, that means that whether you had a good hand or you had a bad hand, you were able to maintain and look where you are. You are here in the community of the Temple of Enlightenment International Spiritual Center. That means that what you went through didn't kill you. It only made you stronger. Maybe you were looking at life a different way. Maybe you were just looking at life like whatever happens, happens. Maybe you were looking at life like, hey, I wake up, I go to work, I come home. I wake up, I go to work, I come home. Maybe you're just looking at it from that perspective. Maybe you were looking at life as I'm just supposed to work and help somebody else build their dreams and don't worry about my dreams because my dreams are not important. Whatever it is that your perception of life was up until this moment, you were dealt a hand. I believe the importance here, ladies and gentlemen, is how to play the hand to win in the game of life. I believe that. I believe that our most dominant thing that we need to be paying attention to is how to play the hand that we were dealt. Your natal chart, your numerology, your karmic setup, these are not limitations. These are coordinates. They reveal what kind of alchemist you came to become. A diamond is born in light. It's formed under pressure. You know, sometimes you got to look at your life and really see the hand that you were dealt. You know, write down circumstances that once made you feel disadvantaged, like you weren't smart enough, or you weren't gifted enough, or you were less than, or because you came from a certain neighborhood, you weren't good enough, or because you weren't a certain type, you weren't good enough. And so you get to see the lessons. Ask, what divine intelligence has hidden in this? What the divine intention is hidden in this very thing that we're talking about today? Like, I want you to walk away with a new mindset and a new perception on life. Speak out loud. I choose to see this as training, not tragedy. A lot of times we don't want to look at the past. We don't want to look at the mistakes we've made, and we because we feel like, oh my God, I made those mistakes before. They were horrible. Those are stepping stones. They didn't kill you, even though some of them almost probably you thought they did, or they almost killed you, but they didn't. You're still here. Every time you relabel a limitation as a lesson, you change its energetic frequency. The card that once enslaved you becomes an instrument of power. That's what I'm telling you, ladies and gentlemen. The cards that you were dealt that you think are limiting you, the cards that you were dealt that you feel like are holding you back, once you change the perspective of what you're looking at, you'll realize that these cards are really an instrument. Everything changes when the observer awakens inside of the observation. Everything changes when the observer awakens inside the observation. Spirit never deals two identical hands because evolution requires variety. Your contrast is your classroom. That's why comparing lives is spiritual malpractice. I just told you, everybody was dealt a different hand. So you never have to worry about somebody having the same hand, a better hand, a less hand. That doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what kind of hand you were dealt. The only thing that matters is how to play the hand to win. When you envy another's fortune, you interrupt your own formation. Because now you're worrying about somebody else's hand, which is not your hand. You don't know what they're going through to get to where they are. You don't know whether they have a good hand or a bad hand, but you're still worrying about them instead of putting your full attention on what you have. Their deck is for their destiny. Your deck is coded for yours. The higher law is always fairness through consciousness, not circumstances. Not every move is immediate. Some cards require maturity before they yield their magic. Release what drains your frequency. To fold isn't failure, it's freedom. Sometimes you got to put your cards down. It's not time to play. You got to know when to hold them. You got to know when to fold them. Right? That's what the song says. That's what happens in life, ladies and gentlemen. You got to know when to hold them. You got to know when to fold them. But these are the things that we learn as we learn how to play the hand that we were dealt. When you invest thought, feeling, and imagination deliberately, the universe matches your wager. Your wager, ladies and gentlemen, are your thoughts, your feelings, and imagination. Every situation vibrates like a table tell. Listen to your intuition because it's spirit whispering to you the next play. Why do you think we do the spiritual mind treatment in the beginning? We do the spiritual mind treatment so that all of you can tap into your inner source. You know, that inner small voice that you hear all the time? That's spirit talking to you. That's spirit saying, hey, this is what you should do. This is the next move you should make. You've got to declare to yourself, ladies and gentlemen, I play the hand I've been dealt with divine intelligence. Every limitation becomes leverage in my consciousness. I release comparison. I claim creative command. Because we always compare ourselves to everybody. We look on Facebook, Instagram. We look at what everybody's wearing. We're looking at what they're driving. We're looking at how they're living. We compare ourselves to them because we compare by what we see. But we don't realize that what we see on social media is an illusion. It's not real. My awareness reshuffles reality in my favor. That's why I want somebody to walk away. I want everybody to walk away with a new awareness today, because your awareness will reshuffle the reality. It will reshuffle your reality in your favor. I am the consciousness behind the cards. I don't care what hand you were dealt in the game of life. You are the consciousness behind the cards. No card in their hands is wasted. No card in their hands will ever be wasted. No experience meaningless. No pain without purpose. The divine dealer only deals for development. The unconscious player moves by reaction. The conscious one moves by revelation. And so you have to not be the player that moves by reaction, because we can't move by what we see, but we gotta move by revelation. A pawn blames the board. Oh, you know what, man? It's not my cards. It's the game. It's the board that's messed up. Where a player studies it, the mystic doesn't wait for the next hand. He designs it mentally before it's dealt. To be a conscious strategist is to understand the triad of thought, feeling, and motion. Thought designs the play, feeling fuels the play, motion seals the play. Which one of these is missing in your life? Because, listen, once again, let me go back again. Thought designs the play, feeling fuels the play, motion seals the play. When one of these is missing in your life, the game collapses. A mind without feeling is theory. I'll say that again. A mind without feeling is theory. A feeling without motion is fantasy. A motion without thought is chaos. Master all three, and you've mastered the board. A mind without feeling is just a theory. A feeling without motion is nothing but a fantasy. Motion without thought is chaos. How many of us just do things we don't think about doing it? We just do it, and then it causes a whole big chaos and disruption in the house, drama, all kind of stuff. We were motioning without thinking. But if we are able to master that along with the feeling, along with the thought, we now have been able to master the board. Life isn't random. It's responsive. I tell you every week, the world is your mirror. And so if the world is a mirror, that means the world is always going to show us what we are. Not what we want, not what we could be, not what we should be. It's going to give us what we are. Life isn't random, it's responsive. Every table is tilted towards awareness. When you awaken, odds bend in your favor because reality is an echo chamber for consciousness. That's why fear looks like bad luck. It's simply energy reflected back unrefined. Faith turns probability into probability into possibility. You're not playing against the universe, you're playing with it. That's powerful, ladies and gentlemen. You're not playing against the universe, you're playing with the universe. The moment you realize that, resistance dissolves and oneness takes the seat beside you. Because once you realize that you're playing the game with the universe, you're now operating in oneness. When you start dealing with this level of awareness, ladies and gentlemen, there's certain things that change your mind. There's certain things that elevate and align your mind up to a higher level, and you operate at this level. Observation over reaction. Feel the surge, name it, and redirect it. Transmute anger into assertion. It's the same fire, higher octave. Transmute doubt into discipline. When you act despite uncertainty, you declare mastery. Transmute envy into education. Let another success instruct you, not injure you. You don't have to be afraid. You don't have to be hurt. You don't have to be bothered or harmed by another person's success. Allow that person's success to instruct you, to teach you. Emotional intelligence is spiritual warfare in velvet gloves. You win by inner composure, not outer confrontation. You will always win by inner composure, not outer confrontation. And then once you move into that realm and that level of thinking, that level of awareness, that level of possibility, you start declaring and making statements like this. I am the master strategist of my destiny. My intuition is accurate and my actions are aligned. Every move I make is backed by divine intelligence. I invest faith and always collect wisdom. I play with clarity, courage, and conviction. Life, some people, I would say, if we're stating and we're saying that life is a game, some of you may say, well, what kind of game are we talking about? We're talking about cards here being dealt. Life's casino isn't chaos. It's cosmos wearing glamour. Each table, health, wealth, love, purpose, operates by unseen principles. Ladies and gentlemen, all is mind. All is mind. What you think about the game is the game. All is mind. All is mind. The law of correspondence. As within, so without. Your inner climate predicts your outer weather. And you know, here at the Temple of Enlightenment, we always teach as within, so without. As within, so without. Frequency first. Form follows. The bet you place emotionally detaches the payout materially. The law of rhythm. Even winning has seasons. The wise player respects the flow. Master the laws, and the odds cease to matter. You're no longer rolling dice. You're orchestrating destiny. When you get into this level of awareness, there's a couple of things you want to do. You want to identify which law your current losing streak violates. Then you will affirm alignment. You'll say something like this. I now think as the mind of God thinks. And then you'll feel the energy of victory before the results come. If money feels scarce, you challenge the law of supply. You transmute scarcity by giving. Energy must circulate. If relationship feels stagnant, harmonize with the law of vibration, raise your emotional tone, and watch the table respond. People fear risk because they misunderstand rhythm. The dice are never random. They're mirrors of momentum. When you roll with faith, you roll with the flow of divine timing. The wise player doesn't chase wins. He maintains vibration. The table tilts towards the one who stays centered. In truth, there are no bad rolls, only unread lessons. Ladies and gentlemen, this is good stuff. I really hope you guys are getting this. You may have to go back and listen to this again, but this is really, really good, because if you're really listening to what I'm saying and you're taking in this and you're taking heed to this, this is going to change your perception. Gambling is emotionally reactive. Investing is spiritually responsive. Gambling chases validation. Investing channels vision. Gambling tests your luck. Investing trust law. To gamble is to place faith outside yourself. To invest is to know the universe pays compound interest on conscious intention. Every affirmation, every visualization, every act of generosity is an investment into your future frequency. And when you understand that, ladies and gentlemen, that the act of generosity is an investment into your future frequency, you'll start making statements like the table of life is set for my victory. I play by the law, not by luck. My frequency creates my fortune. I invest energy with the divine intention and always profit in wisdom. The universe is my casino of conscious creation. If every defeat lies dormant data, a wise player reviews, not retrieves, the loss. Conscious reflection transmutes regret into resource. What did this experience teach me about my power, my patience, and my pattern? When extracting meaning, you extract gold. The poor hand becomes the sacred scripture. See what happened without judgment. Stop arguing with reality. Shift your thought, shift your habits, or shift your frequency. Use the lesson to evaluate your next move. This formula is spiritual physics. What you integrate cannot injure you again. Pain is compressed potential. When you stop resisting it, you realize you release the power. Suffering is the interest you pay on unlearned lessons. Every wound is an invitation to wider awareness. You cannot ascend what you refuse to acknowledge. When you face it consciously, pain becomes promotion. And so when you start looking at life from this perspective, you know, somebody saying, well, why would I want to look at life like this? Why do I want to look at life as a game? Because how are you looking at life now? How do you feel about your life? Are you happy? Are you manifesting? Are you having everything you want? Do you have more than enough? Is your cup running over? I mean, when you start looking at it from that perspective, you realize that there's more to life than just surviving. There's more to life just working to keep a roof over my head, food on the table, clothes on our backs. There's has to be more to life than just that. I'm a believer that there's more to life than just that. And so these principles that I'm displaying, these principles that we are uh, culminating today and coming into great uh, discovery and great precedence over these principles, we realize that these principles, these uh, golden nuggets, are actually the very thing that we need to help us to shift our level of awareness and our perspective on life. Somebody says, I don't really believe in gambling, and yeah, you don't have to believe in gambling. As we said, we're not looking into gambling, we're looking into investing into our consciousness. Financial setbacks, see it as a feedback on the belief in scarcity, affirm infinite supply. Somebody going through a heartbreak, see it as proof of capacity to love, redirect that love inward. Rejection, see it as redirection to alignment. Delay, see it as divine timing preparing perfect conditions. Everything happens for a reason. There's no accidents, there's no mistakes. Your response recodes reality. Each challenge you transmute adds a zero to your spiritual bank account. And when you start to look at those things in that perspective and you start to overcome by going within and doing the work and making the necessary changes, you get to declare and speak to yourself and speak out loud and put it into the universe. I turn struggle into strength. You turn pain into power. Every loss is a lesson that multiplies my wisdom. I am richer for every challenge I embrace. Nothing works against me. Everything works for my divine becoming. I play a poor hand like a master. Every morning is a new day. Every morning we are faced with a new deck. Your thoughts shuffle possibilities. Your feelings choose the cards. Your actions play the hand. When you understand this, you never wake up broke. You wake up back at the table with infinite credit. Once you get an understanding of the cards and you get an understanding of the power that you have, ladies and gentlemen, and you get an understanding of how powerful you are, and you start to make some changes. You decide, what scene do I want next? You move into the great rewrite, and you become the producer, the author, the director, the actor. You write a statement of desired reality in its present tense. As a director, you visualize yourself acting as if it's already true. As the actor, you live it, you speak it, you dress it, you move and respond from that identity. You don't play to win, you play to awaken. Winning is inevitable when you realize you are both the player and the board. Ladies and gentlemen, if I don't say anything else after that, I think that, oh my God, I think that right there is a statement within itself. You do not play the game of life to win. You play it to awaken. To awaken, ladies and gentlemen. Winning is inevitable. I say this all the time. Winners will always win. Losers will always lose. So if you're a winner, You have a winning spirit. You have a winning mind. You have a winning feeling. You have winning thoughts. Winners will always win. Losers will always lose. And so, if winning is inevitable, then I come to a place now where I realize that I am both the player and the board. I realize that I am both the dealer and the deck. And then I realize that I am the house and heaven. The outer world is a mirror of the inner mastery. Once you see that, life stops being a gamble and becomes a game of grace. Begin each day with awareness. This is my game and my move. Each night with gratitude, you say this: every card played today expanded my consciousness. You keep your inner frequency high through silence, study, and service. Teach others to play consciously. The game evolves when players awaken. Because the real question is, how do you win in the game of life? I want you to ask yourself the question: how do you win in the game of life? We just said here that to play is not to play the win. You play the game to awaken. And so, if I'm playing the game to win, because we all want to win, we realize that winning is awakening to that new level, that new level of consciousness, that new plateau, that new place that we are in life, because we have awakened to that place. This might be a lot for a lot of people to really digest, but I want you to play this over and over again this week. I want you to listen to this, because if you can come to the realization and you know that winning is inevitable, and you realize, ladies and gentlemen, that you are both the player and the board, you are both the dealer and the deck, the house and heaven. The outer world is the mirror of your inner mastery. That's why to win the game of life is to awaken. Because to win the game of life doesn't happen in the material world, it happens in the spiritual realm. Because in reality, the game has always been from the spiritual connotation. It's always been from that spiritual connotation. So it's never really been about, oh, you win in a game of life because you have X amount of money, or because you the first one to get to the end, or no. It never was really about that. So I want you, when you hear the words play the game to win, I want you to understand that what winning is. Winning is not just getting a house and a car. Winning is not getting the dream trip to Italy and Paris and Scandinavia. It's in the Amalfi Coast. That's not necessarily winning, but that's you being able to live and enjoy the reality that you've created. But the real win is you to awaken that you can do that. The real win is you awaken to realize that I can generate as much money as I want to generate, that I can overcome, that I can be the person that I need to be, because I've come to this realization. So I come to this and I understand my assignment. I understand that there's some things about me that's different from everybody else. And so I can't be like everybody else. I can't follow anybody else. I have to play the hand that I was dealt. Ladies and gentlemen, you can only play the hand that you were dealt. When you get to that level, and you're able to really stand and really move it to that into that new level of consciousness, I want you to speak like this. My consciousness reshuffles reality at will. I no longer chase luck, I command law. Every card I play reveals divine intelligence in motion. I win by awakening. We came today, ladies and gentlemen, to learn that there are no bad hands, only unawakened players. We came to remember that spirit is the only dealer and love is the only law. Play boldly, live deeply, and create consciously. The game is won, not by chance, but by choice. Listen, life has never been stacked against you. I know you feel like, man, it just seems like every time I'm trying to do something, it just seems like the deck is stacked against me. Listen, life has never stacked the deck against you. It has been sculptured for you. Your hand that you were dealt, when you play that hand with divine intelligence, it becomes the masterpiece of mastery. Once you awaken, you let your cards align and you let consciousness crown itself through every move. Life is not a matter of holding good cards, but playing a poor hand well. That's what life is about. We see it. We call it. Some people like to call rags to riches. Somebody who came from, low poverty place, difficult upbringing, and then all of a sudden they grow up, and through all the trials and tribulations, they become very successful, and they begin to become very prominent, very influential in life, and we see it all the time. But my question is, why can't it be you? I don't even think that some of us are thinking that way. So, like I said, that's why if you listen to what I said today, the first thing we need to do is awaken. Some of you haven't even awakened to realize that life is a game. We look at life as, oh, I just wake up, I go to work, I come home, I watch TV, I cook for the kids, do homework. Every 2 weeks I get a paycheck, I pay bills, and I do the same thing over and over again. Maybe during the summer we take a little vacation. We do this, we do that, and pretty much we live. But that's not playing the game of life, ladies and gentlemen. Are you living or are you just existing? That's why the key here is to awaken, to realize that you were dealt a hand to play in the game of life. And when you awaken, because you come into that awakening period, you come into the awakening, the awakening of it. And once you come into that awakening of it, you come into a place of awakening where you say to yourself, I can never look at life the same again. I can't look at it. Things have been different. Things have changed. It's unbelievable to me how I can look at life the same again. I can't look at life again the same. I got to move into a new ship, a new paradigm. I have to move into some new things. Why? Because I know that I've been given this hand to be dealt in the game of life. And I got to be able to play it. I'm doing myself a disservice by not playing it. I'm doing a disservice. So I got to put myself in that position. And so these are the things that happen, ladies and gentlemen. These are the things that we encounter once we make that shift. And so that's why today I had to give you this. I had to give you that life is not a matter of holding good cards, but it's a matter of playing the poor hand well. And so this is where we are. Ladies and gentlemen, we're in October. We're coming towards the end of the year. And what does the cards hold for you in 2026, ladies and gentlemen? How are you going to play your cards in 2026? How are we going to play our cards in 2026? Are we going to let life happen? Are we going to let life come by to us? Are we going to let things just come as they are? Or are we going to begin to reshuffle reality and begin to live the life that we want to live? To be or not to be is the question. You never get out of life what you want. You will only get out of life what you become. And yes, I understand when we come back to the natal promise, was promised. The promise. I want to look at that, my natal promise. The promise. And so these are the ways of how we can manipulate the atmosphere, because we're spiritual beings having a human experience. And so in order to manipulate the human experience, I have to learn how to adapt to the spiritual realm. As within, so without. As above, so below. And bring me into that context. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you so much for tuning in. I feel like this is so good. I'm going to go back and listen to this myself and take some notes. Believe me, it was like preaching to the choir today, but I really want us to understand the importance of playing the hand that we were dealt. There's so many people I know that haven't been able to play the hand. They haven't awakened yet. And so I'm hoping that this teaching today will awaken you to begin to move into playing the hand that you were dealt in life, to become a winner in the game of life. There's only a few weeks. We got November, December, and we're almost at the halfway mark of, not past the halfway mark of October. What does 2026 have in store for you? Click the link, schedule a consultation. Let's get it going. Let's sit down and see what we can discuss and put together. I want to um, also give you guys an opportunity once again. It is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Those of you that want to sow a seed, that want to donate to our ministry, the Temple of Enlightenment International Spiritual Center, for the month of October, we're donating everything over to the breast cancer awareness. I'm a big time supporter of it. This is the first time we're doing this. This is our first year. It was just something that Spirit laid on me to do. I just felt like with everything that's going on, I just know the importance of sowing, the importance of giving, showing great gratitude, but also I wanted to support and stand next to those who overcame breast cancer, who survived breast cancer. I wanted to also stand and console those who lost loved ones due to breast cancer. And so I think that it's imperative that we do this and that we stay connected. Listen, there's 4 ways that you can give. The first way is going to be Cash App, $TOESC. That's our Cash App. Second way is going to be Zelle and PayPal. All the ways to give are also in the description in the bottom. But Zelle and PayPal are going to be the next ways that you can give, and that's going to be based on our email, which is info, I-N-F-O, at TOESC.org. INFO at TOESC.org. Then we have the other way, which is Venmo. You can give by Venmo. Venmo is going to be Issachar Bey, ISSACHARBEY at gmail.com. It's going to be ISSACHARBEY at gmail.com. And those are the 4 ways you can give. Also, there's a address. If you want to send a check or money order, you can. If you can, write on there breast cancer awareness. If you're going to send it by hard money check or money order. So we can go ahead and donate that over to the Breast Cancer Awareness Foundation. And then also, I want to thank all of you for tuning in every week. If you find that this program, this teaching has been beneficial to you, please hit the share link, hit the share button, copy the link, email it, text it to somebody who needs to hear this, somebody who you think would need to hear this kind of information. Have them subscribe and let them know that we're here same time, same place every week. I want to thank all of you for tuning in. Your destiny is not a matter of chance, but it's a matter of choice. I love you, and there's nothing you can do about it.